People talk about the atmosphere. You know, you kind of get a glimpse of humanity at its best. You have people, that charitable component, and often people with very sad stories who are doing it for very personal reasons. Then you've got just your average weekend warrior who's taking on a challenge in the best sense and doing it. And then you've got the crowds who turn up to cheer on strangers. So is the Dublin atmosphere especially good? Or again, is this a worldwide phenomenon where the atmospheres are just amazing and for whatever reason a marathon in a city just conjures up something positive? Your thoughts on all that? You would have seen a change, obviously, down the years.
Yeah, well, I think 2011, the event was actually televised live, and I remember, obviously, going home and watching it on television. And when the race, with the greatest respect, to the front of the field, when the race was passing through, obviously the areas that we went through later on, the spectators were kind of few and far between. But yet, when we went through the areas, like, there were 3 and 4 deep. So it's kind of, I think it's more that that the person on the sideline can probably identify, while obviously they accept, the leaders, that's wonderful talent and they're flying along. But it's more like they can identify with the hackers, the rest of us down the field, the 3.5, 4, for whatever the time is. Yeah. And it seems to be that they can nearly identify more with us than, but the support, over the years, particularly again, since it's gone to the Sunday, and I think a lot more people know, family, friends, work colleagues that are actually doing it. So they'll go out and they'll shout along the...
Does it make a tangible difference, do you find?
Phenomenal. It really is. And I would say that, so my first one was 2008, and I'm sure you'd agree, it has got better every year, bigger and bigger crowds. And I've been lucky enough, probably like most people in this room, to have done some of the marathon majors, which are spectacular as well. But Dublin is right up there with them for crowds.
Right.
Was it 2 years ago the really bad rain was? Like, my pacing balloon was like sinking because it was so wet. There were still crowds. Phenomenal. And so you used to have, like Martin says, pockets of quiet. That's practically non-existent now. It's just, and for a lot of people as well, will be there for us, for family. Like, I've watched my kids grow up on the sidelines, so they still come out in their 20s. My oldest son doesn't live in Ireland anymore, but they'll be at the Marion Shopping Centre still, even though we're pacing or whatever, to see us. So, but people will go out even when they don't have someone running, because
that's the part I find so
all of
curious.
humanity and mankind. It's just, if there ever comes a day when I can't run a marathon, I will definitely be on the sidelines, because it's kind of the next best thing. My husband was sidelined 1 year, and he was out spectating. He said it was just so much fun. It depends where you're on the course. When you get to kind of 25 miles, it can be a bit scary. It might put you off running a marathon when some people who say haven't trained with Emmett and don't know what they're doing, it can be a bit like a thriller zombie video towards the end.
Yeah. So if you were a kind of sadistic type and you wanted to watch people blow up,
that would be the
But that's where I stand. I stand outside the US Embassy in Boston at 25 miles. I'll follow parts of the route, and then I'll park the bike there and watch everybody coming in. And you see the great and the good coming through at that point.
You have a sign out, you should have trained with me.
An opportunity, bit of American opportunity for next year.
Opportunity right there.
It wouldn't hurt so much if you trained.
That wouldn't be great. People are usually in the doldrums at that point.
By the way, how tough for someone to get to 23, 24 miles and they just can't keep going?
Yeah, it's tough.
Tough.
It's nearly, but at that stage, I would tell people, obviously, if you are physically unwell, you should definitely pull out, and you always need to listen to your body. But if you've got to 24 miles, it's your mind that's stopping you going the rest of the way. It might be cramped dehydration, but it's easier to go. But I'm always sensitive to people, because people can go in on themselves and they are genuinely struggling. And there can come a time where you're in the race thinking, well, I'm just not going to finish this. Yeah. And some people don't. And it's not the end of the world if you don't. So health first. But that's why it's great to feed from the crowd, run with the pacers, think of your coach, think of your family. and just one step in front of the other.
I could see how you could panic 10, 12 miles in if you don't feel like
you go, oh God, we still have so much
you're
to
sort
go.
You're sort of thinking about that climb up from Clonskey up to the top of Roebuck and
that Foster's Hill.
That's
Heartbreak Hill.
Yeah, that's
21 miles.
It's the Irish version of it, and even my wife's who's been like Olwyn and Emmett, the family have been huge over the years, and she'd be out around sort of the Merrion Shopping Centre, and I never realised it was as far from the Merrion Shopping Centre, into where the old Jury's Hotel used to be. You're thinking, this road is never ending.
I know,
it's about 25 miles. I think 25 miles has probably got the RDS, and thankfully they've changed it, because in the previous years, in the more recent years, you used to go down Shelburne Road, round by the back of the Aviva, into Pearse Street. So you kind of felt you were passing the finish line to come back out, whereas now you get to the RDS, and it's from there in it's a nice kind of down. It's a nice little bit of a downhill, wide road, and they have a big TV screen as well. Just outside the US Embassy, so you can kind of see yourself, you say, right, okay, just that little bit of a push that you need.
Whether you want to see yourself at that
you kind of...
depends on what kind of a day you're having.
You get a bit of a sort of a buzz.
Yeah.
You were saying, by the way, just to mention, it's fascinating that the move to the Sunday has obviously helped, because people prefer to run on Sunday than sit around wake all weekend for the bank holiday Monday. Part of that has been the church, the Catholic Church. God, there's no end to the tentacles. They allowed people run by church so people could, you can't run on a Sunday. People have to go to mass. That's all calmed down.
Yes, it was well, if they be going there for, what about 10:30? What about 11 o'clock mass?
Yeah.
And the road will be closed, and the people, I would say that that certainly is probably part of.
When did that move happen?
It's probably about 10 years ago.
At all? Okay.
Yeah.
Round
they
about
moved
that,
from but 16, 17. They moved to the Sunday.
It's gas, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was reading as well, once it gets to a 7-hour mark, anyone who's still running or walking at that stage, they're asked to move onto the footpath so they can open the roads. That they need a cheer, those people.
Oh, they do.
Oh my God.
And they do get it.
Do they?
Yeah, there are. But those people work so hard. It's particularly if the weather's bad.
Yeah.
It's and sometimes you can often be coming home from the marathon and people are still out, and my hat goes off to them.
That's proper. Yeah.
Yeah.
I presume wind is the one thing no one likes.
Yeah.
Yes.
A bit of soft rain, no problem.
If it's excessively warm, and very often in Ireland in October, you might get 16, 17 degrees, but it's very humid as well.
Yeah.
So that's a killer combination, because at least if it's windy, it's windy.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you get heat and humidity, people underestimate it.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I would say, we talk about, you watch people coming in the last couple of miles of a marathon, it gets pretty scary. And there was a couple of years where it's been warm and humid, and it's quite scary watching people coming in those last couple of miles, because they've really overextended themselves, and those last 1 to 2 miles are
consider that in October.
2022 was particularly humid.
Yeah, it was some. Yeah, it was pretty uncomfortable.
It was
watching some
a
of
good
the
few
people
blow-ups that year.
There's actually been. I can't remember a year where you'd say you wouldn't put a milk bottle out in that. There's been a couple of years where it has turned quite wet during it.
Yeah.
You get some very heavy showers. But actually, going to the start line and, spending your 4 or 5 hours out on the road, I can't remember any year where you'd say I wouldn't venture out, even training and that. So, which is
it's looking pretty good for Sunday.
Sunday, yeah.
Temperatures are nice, and the wind is sort of northwest directions. We were looking at this last night as well. So, for people who might be listening to this in advance, the sort of miles 1 to 7, I'll be into the wind. And again, from 13 to 15 miles, just after you go up the Crumlin Road. They're the two sections to keep an eye out for.
Okay. There always seems to be wind on Crumlin Road, even if there isn't. For anyone who's that's an area where my husband's a big tall guy, so I always say everybody line up behind Joe there, and he'll take the wind for you there. Good forecast. Have we tempted you, Joe? Are you joining Emmett next year?
I think I'd
wrong answer.
I think I'd break down.
You mightn't get in the lottery.
Well, that's I would.
Yeah.
But I was
you won't break down if you play golf every week.
That's
what
golf
I've taken away
is
from
the
the last
secret
hour.
now. I might take it up again. Yeah,
the most bizarre regimen I've ever heard for.
It's working.
Years.
It's working. Yeah.
Yeah. And come here. Just one last one. I couldn't run without headphones. Is that a common thing? Is that you look down at me now? And
Yeah,
think,
generally frowned upon.
It's frowned upon. The hardcore runners will frown upon.
Performance enhancing almost, is it, to get headphones? Music?
No, it's safety is the number one thing with headphones because there are ambulances.
What one would you listen to?
I don't know.
If only we knew some good podcasts we could listen to. Yeah. No, it is worth mentioning that the organisers strongly suggest no headphones, and it's safety related. Right. Because you can often go in on yourself and trip someone up, but there have been ambulances on the route, etc. And I fully understand, again, a lot of people would be used to training with headphones, but the buzz with the spectators, you can often strike up a conversation around you. It's if you can, I would say don't run with your headphones.
I think you're missing a trick in terms of the atmosphere if you run with headphones on the
You have a different experience.
Yeah, it's much...
How about the starting line in 1980? Were there any headphones?
No,
Doubt it. Bluetooth didn't exist.
Get your Walkman going.
A wave,
a boombox.
Yeah, a wave start was, something that you did to somebody in the crowd, but no, there was very few. But even obviously the shoes and that have changed, but a lot of the stuff hasn't. I had these ultra trendy runners. They actually had a clock built into those like Velcro where the laces are, and there was I think there might have been a clock maybe at halfway, and that was pretty much it. And you had thousands of sponges laid out on a table, and they were soaked, and you lobbed yourself with the sponge and threw it away. And there was a drink called Pocari. So
I think that's still around.
It was in Tokyo for the World. Sponsored the World Championship.
But it was that was the and as I say, if it took you 2 or 3 minutes to get through the start line, so be it. We started on St. Stephen's Green and headed off down.
It went north side that time, didn't it?
Yeah.
It went through Raheny and...
It did, yeah. It's sort of Phoenix Park, and then came down through, sort of Finglas, sort of Cabra, Finglas, Ballymon, Glasnevin, Santry, Whitehall, Killester, Raheny, and then in along the seafront from Raheny in, and then sort of back in. Actually, in the very first one, we came back into town at 20 miles and around by the dental hospital. If you look to your right, you could actually see it, but you still had to go back out to the Merrion Shopping Centre, turn right out by RTE, turn right in by RTE, and then straight in through Donnybrook. So, you're looking to your right, and you'd hear, and here we have so and so finishing, and you still had over 6 miles to do. That only happened once. Yeah.
And when you're running every day for all these years, would you listen to headphones, or is it your therapy?
No, actually, if I'm doing a long run on my own, I might listen to a podcast. If you know of any, let me know.
I will, yeah. 1 or 2.
Because where I live out on the coast, there's a cycle path and it's quite safe. The biggest thing with headphones, whether you're racing or whatever, is safety. And I know they have the bone conducting ones. Generally, I wouldn't, because it's where I live, again, the sea and all. But there are times when I might have a particularly stressful day, so I might listen to a comedy podcast or something.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. That's amazing, by the way. Well done.
Yeah. Please God, still got to get there. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I'm doing my best to jinx you here.
No, I'm touching wood. This table is wood, is it?
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for that. The very best of luck on Sunday to you two, and best of luck to your athletes on Sunday. Yeah.
Thanks very much.
So we had in studio Emmett Dunleavy, perfectpacing.com if anyone.
That's the one.
Next year wants
if it goes bad on Sunday, you know who to contact for next year.
Yeah.
We have Martin Kelly, 1980 to 2025 continued every single marathon.
Please God.
Yeah, good man. That's amazing. And then Olwyn Dunne, who ran her first marathon in 08 and will be a pacer for the 4-hour crew.
Yeah.
On Sunday.
The fun bus.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Thanks so much. Amazing.
Thanks,
Thank
Joe.
you. Really enjoyed it.
All right, guys.
Really enjoyed that.